Shortly after attaining independence in 1960, Nigeria emerged as one of the most promising countries in the Southern Hemisphere. Her bright prospects soon earned her the reputation, the giant of Africa. With a population of over 167 million people, Nigeria is the seventh most populous country in the world. Although the country is better known as the world's seventh largest producer of oil and the nation with the eighth largest gas reserve in the world, Nigeria is fundamentally an agrarian country, as agriculture accounts for about 40% of its GDP. Beneath her soil also lies some of the world's most precious solid minerals, 44 of which have been identified in commercial quantity. Although in the last 4 years, Nigeria has recorded unprecedented advances in various fields, while steps have been initiated to remove some of the factors that have prevented Nigeria from actualizing her full potentials. For instance, Nigeria's gross domestic products grew at an average rate of 6% to 7% between 2010 and 2013. All these rank Nigeria as one of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, reported in 2013 that for the second year running, Nigeria ranked as Africa's #1 destination for foreign direct investment, FDI, in 2011 and 2012. UNCTAD also rates Nigeria as a country with the fourth highest return on investment in the world, with an average of 35%. In spite of these recent economic achievements, the government is deeply concerned that the real sector has not been sufficiently developed to facilitate inclusive growth and broaden Nigeria's economic base. The Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan, NIRP, and the National Enterprise Development Program, NEDEP, that have been very well articulated to fundamentally transform Nigeria's economy are Nigeria's direct responses to these challenges. For the government, these are big steps for Nigeria and a transformational direction for her people. The strong message is that Nigerians must begin to produce what they consume rather than spending billions of dollars importing what the well-endowed country can produce. For instance, in 2012, 54% of Nigeria's import bill of about $60 billion was expended on such manufactured goods as automobiles that accounted for $3.4 billion, while $3.3 billion was spent on the importation of steel, when Nigeria has iron ore. Only 3% of Nigeria's total export in 2012, valued at about $93 billion, were manufactured goods in today's world, where industrial goods account for more than 70% of global trade. Consequently, Nigeria is virtually cut out of the bulk of global trade. History shows that no country has ever become rich by exporting raw materials without also having an industrial sector and, in modern terms, an advanced services sector. When we export raw materials, we are also exporting jobs. The NIRP will revolutionize the Nigerian industrial sector by focusing on areas of competitive and comparative advantage.
There are 5 major elements and which NIRP focuses on. One is access to finance. Second is about access to infrastructure, power. The third is about skills development. Not in any order of importance, they're all very important. The fourth is about standards. The fifth is about investment climate. We have to work on that. The sixth is about local patronage. So it looks across areas where we must improve on the issues we must address to increase or improve our competitiveness as a country.
While NEDEP will tackle the constraints hindering the growth of small businesses in Nigeria.
NEDEP is a new way, a transformational way of addressing the issues of the SMEs. So, for example, there are 4 or 5 major problems here. One is access to affordable finance. Second is business support services. Third is about skills development. Fourth is about the infrastructure to make their products cheaper and competitive. Fifth is about having market access. NEDEP addresses all those problems. So the idea is that once we address those problems at that level, we will prepare them for the industrialization of the country because they will be part of the supply chain of the bigger companies to start with. We will have inclusive economic growth.
We said and commended government for the very many manufacturing-friendly policies they have put in place and are still putting in place. And that's why we welcome this NIRP.
The new industrial policy is something that I believe can easily double the investment of Nigeria in the next, 2-3 years. And I'm sure any serious investor will definitely wake up and rush to investing into Nigeria.
The recent landmark investment decisions and the improvements recorded in the manufacturing sector are being attributed to new vibrant policies and strong commitments to doing things differently, especially the enunciation of the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan, NIRP. The most notable being the Banquet Group's $9 billion oil refinery, petrochemical and fertilizer plant that has been described as the most revolutionary project in the annals of Nigeria's economic history. On completion in 2016, it would transform Nigeria's fortunes from being an exporter of crude oil and importer of refined petroleum products to a net exporter of petroleum products. In addition to becoming self-reliant in petroleum products, as from 2017, refining Nigeria's crude oil in Nigeria would have considerable multiplier effects on the Nigerian economy, such as creation of thousands of direct and indirect jobs that would boost domestic purchasing power. Federal and state governments would earn more income through the payment of company tax and personal income tax. The NIRP in 2013 similarly resulted in General Electric announcing its decision to invest $1 billion in the Nigerian economy.
We're incredibly attracted to the opportunities in infrastructure in Nigeria. We think the time is perfect for us. We've made plans to invest $1 billion in the country over the next few years. We think between our own direct hires and our supply chain, we should be able to hire more than 2,000 Nigerians in that activity, and that'll range across a number of different sectors. So we're really excited, and we think the time is now.
Our policy today, as I say, is holistic. And what we're putting in place here is almost like institutionalizing it, putting the implementation in the hands of the private sector and government, not government only, and making sure that our policies are backed by law or close to law. The sectorial policies are backed by law or by something similar to that to ensure sustainability.
It is totally different than what it used to happen before, where government would just bring out a policy without discussing with the operators. If you want to bring out a policy, then you have to talk to us, with the operators, and see whether, yes, it's something that is doable or it's not doable. So that is actually the difference.
The highly positive reactions generated amongst domestic and foreign investors by the new automobile policy and the Sugar Master Plan that are amongst the major components of the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan have exceeded all expectations.
Since the implementation, we've seen pipeline investment come into the sector of about $3 billion, led by local investors. Secondly, in fact, because of the policy, one of the investors, for example, in their Sugar Master Plan, they're going to set up sugarcane plantation in 6 states in the northern part of Nigeria. They will employ 180,000 people in 4 years, compared to the plan that was 117 in 10 years.
We believe the government has developed an excellent master plan. We are determined to drive this policy. Banquet is investing heavily into this.
The auto policy and Sugar Master Plan have continued to be applauded by captains of industry.
With this policy, many cars will spring out. On April, our first car is coming out. It is this policy that will give us encouragement to expand more.
This policy will enable us to put this huge infrastructure and investments to use.
It will also enable us to retain and absorb back some of our skill and trained manpower that we had to lay off because of very low activity.
For us, the essence of this policy is one that is going to give rise to the onset of an industrial base. And when that industrial base develops, it's not just about auto vehicles. The same skills you use to develop auto components, you are going to now use to develop other domestic appliances.
It has a lot of advantages to Nigeria as a nation. It puts us on a different level entirely compared to so many other countries.
Nissan announced that it was coming to Nigeria to partner and set up Nissan plants in the country. And in fact, the first Nissan cars will be produced in the country in April. Hyundai of South Korea is signing in, and of course, I think have shipped their SKDs. We have the like Volkswagen looking at all their products in the country. We have the likes of Toyota looking at the policy. They will come up with a plan by the end of March. We have the likes of Honda carrying out their due diligence. We have the likes of Tata.
In order to ensure inclusive growth and the rapid resolution of some of the country's development challenges, NIRP and NEDEP have been crafted to complement each other in line with tested industrialization models under which small businesses are linked to large ones, especially through their supply chains.
For every job we create in Nigeria, there should be 8 in the supply chain. So if we hire more than 300 people at Calabar, there should be more than 2,000 people in the supply chain. And in order to do that, that requires a great SME entrepreneurial class.
It is one thing to say we want SMEs to have businesses. We don't want SMEs to have businesses just for the sake of it. We had to also go to what we call the multilateral institutions, the big companies in Nigeria that were operating. We would provide the funding. We would find the capacity to ensure that they are strong enough to be able to produce to you.
The creative thing about BOI is that they found a way to do it, because we're doing it on a cooperative basis, that what has been a stumbling block for most SMEs, like collateral, all those things, that can be resolved by working together in a cooperative where they cross-guarantee each other. Also, they found other ways to reach out to the SMEs by working with about 4 microfinance institutions in the country, so that the reach penetration is much more. And SMEDA now has state.
Under the first phase of NEDEP, BOI has approved loans totaling 7.153 billion naira to 429 beneficiaries in all the 6 geopolitical zones across many industrial subsectors.
I want to thank God for NEDEP, because you see smile in my face before you can't see it.
When we have not benefited from NEDEP through Bank of Industry, we were not really meeting up. We were struggling. But as they come in, we improved. Things changed.
Before I got a NEDEP loan, I had 4 staff, but now I had up to 9.
He has impacted a great deal, because without the help of NEDEP through BOI, we wouldn't have been where we are today.
Honestly, NEDEP loan has tremendously boosted our business, because we are able to purchase enough products, we are able to make sales, and we are proud we have got sophisticated machines.
Under NEDEP, SMEDEN has facilitated the establishment of more than 10,000 cooperatives, while the Industrial Training Fund has trained 37,000 youths in industrial skills. 1,000 each were trained in the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. BOI currently manages funds dedicated to the development of micro, small and medium enterprises in 18 states that formed the launchpad for the rollout of NEDEP in 2013.
And I want to assure you, whatever infrastructure you have in order to fight poverty, Kano State is going to take advantage of that. Thank you very much.
I inaugurate you to the glory of God and for the benefits of the goodwill of Ogun State. I know that you will live up to that enviable standard that all of us from Ogun State are noted for. Thank you.
From all indications, all tiers and arms of government, the private sector, non-governmental organizations, and indeed Nigeria's development partners are irrevocably committed to propel Nigeria to greater heights into becoming one of the most powerful economies in the world. Members of government and the private sector are optimistic that initiatives such as the NIRP and NEDEP would ensure that future generations of Nigerians inherit a more prosperous country.
If you really want to invest, you are serious about investment, Nigeria is the right place to invest.
It's a dream for any investor. It is a nation destined for a great and bright future.
Nigeria is destination for now, and I call on investors all over the world to come now and invest in Nigeria. In the next couple of years, the economy will turn to the level that so many people will be surprised where we have reached.